I said, hey everybody. I said, hey everybody. It's the dugcast. Yeah. I said, hey everybody, it's the dugcast. Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Doug. Just kind of chilling out, figured I'd do a stream. Got some stuff in the mail. My electricity's been out all morning. It's been like stormy here, and the wind was blowing, and the house was shaking, and everything was rattling. Just kind of a poopy day. It kind of sets the mood for yesterday. I left and went with my brother. My nephew had a basketball game like 2 hours away, so I rode with him down there. And when we get there, I pull out my phone and see the news that one of my favorite musicians of all time had passed away. So we're going to talk about that for a minute. We'll switch over to this right here. Showing the wrong display here. We'll pull it over here. You guys can see it. Neil Peart, drummer and lyricist of Rush, dead at 67. This is from Pitchfork.com, which I'm not a big fan of Pitchfork, but at least this is a music thing, so we'll read this. The legendary musician was battling brain cancer. And there's a picture of him there. It says, Neil Peart, the drummer and lyricist of progressive rock band Rush, has died. CBC News and Rolling Stone report. According to the reports, Peart died on January 7th in Santa Monica, California, after a years-long battle with brain cancer. He was 67 years old. So apparently he'd been battling this brain cancer for almost 4 years. So apparently it was probably discovered just after their very last tour. Because Rush ended in 2015. That was their last tour ever and everything. And Neil wanted to be able to go out on top. He wanted to be able to still be able to be the best drummer he could. He didn't want to have to struggle with everything. And the dude nearly tore himself apart playing those dates. He'd messed his foot up, and I mean, he was 60. If that was 5 years ago, he was in his 60s. I mean, there's no athlete that could play football or baseball into their 60s professionally, and Neil Peart here was just absolutely destroying the drums. Renowned for his technical expertise and unique performance style, Neil Peart was considered by many to be one of the best rock drummers of all time. He retired from professional drumming in Rush in 2015. Now, I pretty much, just my opinion, he is the greatest rock drummer of all time. That's, like I said, that's my opinion. Born in 1952, Neil picked up the drums at an early age and played in several bands in his native Ontario before joining Rush in 1974, shortly ahead of the group's first ever U.S. tour. Peart replaced founding drummer John Rutsey and would remain in Rush for the rest of his professional career, recording on every one of their studio albums, save for their self-debut titled LP. Peart picked up lyricist duties beginning with the band's second album, Fly By Night, in 1975. If you ever listen to the first Rush album, they really wanted to be Led Zeppelin. It's a lot like Led Zeppelin. The lyrics are that kind of rock, hey baby kind of thing. And when he started writing the songs, they really grew. They were a lot more introspective and intelligent. Not saying anything against the previous lyrics. That's the way rock bands were at the time. But, his writing was just completely different. It says Peart quickly gained notoriety for his powerful rock drumming as Rush continued to record albums and expand their sound over the decades. His drumming style continued to shift as well, incorporating more percussion elements and early sample triggering into his performances. He reached a breakthrough in the mid-1990s when he sought instruction from jazz drummer Freddie Gruber. After 45 years of playing, I wanted to push myself and open up this whole new frontier, Peart said in 2017. I've been able to do that as a lyricist and as a prose writer and now a drummer. You have to challenge your own limitations and your own expectations of yourself. See, so who at that age, who's already been declared one of the greatest rock drummers of all time, would continue to push what they do and learn new things and push those abilities? That's insane. It's just, you don't hear that a lot. In 1997, Peart experienced tragedy with the death of his daughter, Selena Taylor, in a car accident. Less than a year later, his wife, Jacqueline, died following a battle with cancer. These deaths resulted in Peart taking time off from the band, during which he traveled North America via motorcycle to grieve, before returning in 2002 for Rush's 17th studio album, Vapor Trails. He later documented that trip in his book Ghostwriter. Now, Vapor Trails is an epic album. I remember when it first came out, and it was a couple years after that I actually got to really listen to it. It is huge. It is such a good album, and they actually has a song Ghostwriter on there. Some great lyrics. They actually re-released that album several years ago. They remixed it and re-released it again. In December 2015, Peart announced his retirement from drum performance and Rush in an interview with Drumhead magazine. During the interview, he told a story about his daughter Olivia. Lately, Olivia has been introducing me to new friends at school as my dad. He's a retired drummer, he quipped. True to say, funny to hear, and it does not pay me to realize that, like all athletes, there comes a time to take yourself out of the game. The dude also had an epic sense of humor. He was in the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie. If you watch any of the documentaries, the guys are always joking around. There's some really good documentaries about Rush out there. There's one about the band, and then there's one just about the very last tour ever. And also there's a ton of live DVDs if you get the chance. One of my favorite was when they came back and did the Rush in Rio. If you've never seen that, even if you're not a Rush fan, it's a great DVD. So here we have a video, and we're going to watch it. So we won't watch all 5 minutes of that. I mean, you've heard Tom Sawyer. Go and check that out. That's on the Time Machine tour. That was a really good tour. I also have that DVD. A lot of these are online to watch. So just go and get on YouTube. There's a million performances. They are all worth watching. They were a great band. Matthew Reese says the best with no question, and I don't really like Rush. I love Rush, but even if you don't, you've got to respect the man's skills. The man was definitely one of the greatest. I mean, this I know I've been talking about it on Twitter and stuff since yesterday, but man, this is a bummer. I can't believe that I live in a world without Tom Petty and Neil Peart. It's just, I grew up listening to Rush, and it's kind of funny. My dad had Rush cassettes, and I remember the first album that I ever heard was Fly By Night, which was the first album that Neil Peart ever played on. And I remember, listen to Fly By Night and Closer to the Heart. And Dad also had a Farewell to Kings. I think that was his favorite album by them. And when I was in high school, we had a 2 cassette collection. It was like Rush Chronicles, and it had all their greatest hits and all that stuff. And we listened to that. Me and my brothers listened to that on the way to high school until we absolutely wore it out and it wouldn't play anymore. And I ended up buying every Rush album I could come across on CD. That's something like my parents. I could go up there right now and we could pop in a Rush DVD and just rock out. It's. I hate getting older. Seeing everything that you love die. I know it's a part of life, but man, It's no good. So, let's get on to something a little bit better. Got a package in the mail today from old Matthew Krotz. Now, I missed out on his book on Indiegogo, so I sent him a message the other day, and I was like, hey, you got any extra copies of that book, let me know, and I will send you some money. So he totally hit me up on that. So I sent him some money, and he sent me this book. So let's open this thing. Like I said, you open it with something like this, always cut away from yourself. Alright, I got it open. Let's see what we got here. It was packaged well. It was in this cardboard. And I hope I didn't just dox him. And then it's in this Ziploc baggie here, which is perfect. And I'm actually thinking I'm going to steal that idea for Legends of the Lone Wolf. And something here that is super mega awesome. The dude sent this sketch here, but on this other side, he did Wolf from Lone Wolf. That is, that's awesome, and I love that, and I appreciate that. I don't know if you're watching today or not, Matt. I'm going to make a post and tag you, but I appreciate that, man. That is awesome. And one thing that drew me to... and we got some postcards. One thing that really drew me to his book is the art. The art and the colors. One thing you can say for this dude, kind of reminds me of him and George Alexopoulos have a really good sense of colors. Their colors are really something else. And I like this bookmark. And I like that it's laminated. That's one thing I love. That is so cool. Let's pop this book out here and take a look at it. Okay, he did a really good job on this book. It's got some raised lettering here. It says Kyrie, and you can feel it. But look at the colors. And we see some spatial deformities because of space-time and the green colors. But yeah, this is definitely quality here. It's thick. It's really nice paper. Oh, he signed it. But yeah, it is really nice paper. Nice art. Nice colors. Like I said, that's one thing I like about this. It really stands out is the colors are cool. And I like the way that he lettered the book. This is a big book. This presentation so far is great. I will be reading this and I will let you guys know what I think. But I really like Mr. Krotz. He seems well spoken, and he seems like a really hard worker. Keeps his head down, gets his work done, and I appreciate people like that. Sam says, I don't really remember this book, to be honest. This, I don't know if he really had a presence on Facebook, to be honest. Mostly, I just saw it on Twitter. So, maybe next time I'll tell the dude, you know, he needs to promote it on Facebook. Or maybe I should take it upon myself to be a good friend and promote it on the Facebook. Matthew Reese says pronounced Curie. Well, thank you there. I can't pronounce this stuff. I live in Tennessee. We got Freddie Primo in the chat. It says the Duggernaut. That's me. We got, quite a few people in the chat today. We got Dave, we got Matt, Vicky, Eric, the Needle Mover Society, Sam, Matt Reese, Freddie Primo, Ashton Jackal. Lots of good people. These are my people. Not to detract from Doug Tnaple, but you all are my people. And sorry for that bummer of an intro there. I just really bummed out about Neil Peart. Been listening to a lot of Rush and appreciating the art that the guy left us. That's something I think you can be proud of. When he retired, he went out on top. He left the world with a stack of amazing artwork. So, Tonic Mole says, I paused Clone Wars for this. I am sorry. I am completely sorry. You're probably better off watching Clone Wars. Needle Movers, which is Skinny, says, what do you mean, my people? Freddie Primo says, my space people. Yeah. My space peeps. My space ninjas. Y'all's my space ninjas. So, yeah, if you didn't get, however you pronounce this book by Matt Krotz, and you're interested in it, because it's got some crazy good artwork and colors, shoot him a message on Twitter. If you don't have Twitter and you think you might want to get a copy, message me and I will reach out to him for you, and we'll see if we can't get you a book. Killer looking book by Killer Dude. Freddie Primo says hashtag RIP Neil Peart. Can we get some F's in the chat for Neil Peart? F for awesome. I know it doesn't make sense, but he died, and dying's bad. So let's see the chat fill up with F's there. Yeah, Skinny says the space patriarchy. My space ninjas. If we're space ninjas, then y'all's in my clan. So there's the F starting to roll in. Dying is not cool. 2020 started off with an epic kick to the face. Like I said earlier, like last year. Well, I don't know if it was last year or before. The last few years we lost David Bowie and Tom Petty, and now we lost Neil Peart. It's just those are musicians that I loved as a kid. My mom and dad listened to a ton of different stuff. They had a million different cassettes. So I was always brought up listening to just tons of different rock music. And Full Moon Fever by Tom Petty was one of my favorite albums. That's another one of the cassettes I wore out. We'd switch between Rush and Tom Petty. And then I would listen to the Beatles. I had cassettes of the Beatles I wore out. They actually made those mixtapes off of a lot of old vinyl that my mom and dad had. Yeah, we lost Prince too, Tonic Mole says. No more Bat Dance. I guess, it's just a part of life, but man, it's a bummer. And you think, I don't know these people. I never met these guys. And that's so crazy that somebody I never met and lived on, across the United States from me, how much influence they had on my life. They don't even realize, It makes you think, all these people, we've got all these creative people here in the chat. You never know how your work might touch somebody's life, how they can relate to it. So, try to be the best you. If you make artwork and somebody comes across it and it touches their life, try to not to be a piece of crap. When you get over 30, all your heroes start to die, says Tonic Mole. That's right. I'm 35, so. And another thing that's a complete bummer, all the original Ramones are dead. We've still got Marky Ramone, but he's not an original member. Skinny says, I hope my work touches the ladies. Your work's probably just going to touch a bunch of dudes. Dude toucher. But yeah, put your work out there and try to be the best representation of yourself. Today, we're kind of disconnected because we think we can say whatever on the internet and it doesn't mean anything. But think about how words in a song or words in a book have touched you, and then think about the internet being the same way. You don't want to be a negative influence on somebody's life. I think you should always strive to be the best person you can. Life's too short to worry about being a piece of crap. Midnight Cherry says Sex Pistols and Misfits are greater than Ramones. I'm a huge Misfits fan, but the Sex Pistols can eat a big fat turd. They were just created to sell clothes in a clothing store in England. And they kicked out the good bass player for some guy who looked better, who couldn't even play bass. And Sid Vicious was a garbage human, and that's why he's dead. Sorry to say such terrible things, but it's the truth. The Ramones and the Clash. The Clash is the English punk rock band you should be listening to. Joe Strummer. Eric Hawkins says, as more people I grew up watching, listening to die, I am more aware of my own mortality more than ever. Oh man, I know exactly what you mean. It's so crazy. You see these people die and the impact they had on your life, and it starts making you think that. And one thing that's really a bummer to me is, as far as family, most of my family are still alive. But I have lost my grandparents. I still have one grandma that's still alive. And you think back on when I was a kid, my grandparents are the age that my parents are now. And I just don't know if I can ever make it. If something happens to my parents before I die, I kind of hope that I die before they do. I know that'd be terrible on them, but man, I just don't know. I don't want to get old, and I don't want to see that happen. And I just don't know if I can make it if something ever happened to anybody else. This is like terrible mortality stuff. We shouldn't talk about this kind of stuff. It bums me out. Freddie Primo says John Lydon is still awesome though. I do like John Lydon. Just because he was the singer for the Sex Pistols and they're not as good, he's still an awesome dude. Old Johnny Rotten. Ashton Jackal says hit the like button, people. Tonic Mole says I'm a big grunge fan, so all my heroes didn't even make it out of the 90s. That's true. A couple of them did, but they weren't really grunge after the early 90s. Midnight Cherry, don't be putting the Ramones on the bottom. The Ramones were a great band and very influential. Yeah, Skinny says too depressing. I agree. Way too depressing. Especially people in here don't like the Ramones as much as they should. Or the Misfits, apparently, as much as they should. You should definitely like the Misfits. I like the Misfits enough. I have a Misfits tattoo. Misfits and Black Flag. Used to be a big Black Flag fan, and I've read a bunch of Henry Rollins' books. You talk about books that resonated with me at one point in time. I don't know how a lot of you guys feel, and I get the same feeling from I can't comprehend Doug's argument about Sex Pistols being a fake band when he's loving the Ramones. I love the Ramones. The Ramones were great. I hate the Dead South there, Skinny. You can't be a bluegrass band and be from Canada. They don't even play anything that sounds like bluegrass. These guys got me distracted. But I was talking about Henry Rollins. I used to relate to those books, and I got the same kind of feeling from his books as I did from a lot of Neil Peart's lyrics. That you just kind of feel out of place and like an alien. So I related a lot to those books, and I actually like the Rollins band a lot. You're talking about early 90s. Remember in the 90s, after grunge, there was like that alt metal type thing. It wasn't metal, but it was kind of, I don't know. It's like precursor to new metal, I guess. When you had bands like the Rollins bands and a lot of post-grunge type stuff. Dave says, I love Danzig. Danzig 2 is an awesome album. Danzig 2 is probably Danzig's best album, I think. And I love Danzig as well. You can't be a southern rock band if you're not from the South. Skinny says new metal. Do you not know what new metal is, Skinny? Like Monster Magnet? Yeah, kind of like Monster Magnet. Pre-new metal, pre-Slipknot and Korn and all those bands. That's new metal. Pre that, there was a bunch of alt metal bands where they was like alt rock, really hard kind of stuff. And then I guess it eventually just turned into new metal, and everybody got down with the sickness and felt like a freak on the leash. No one says I'm a big K-pop fan. Okay. I've never listened to any K-pop. I know what it is, but I think if I was going to listen to anything, I would be more into J-pop or like Japanese music. Which I do like the Pillows, because I heard them on Fooly Cooley, and they were kind of like an alt-rock band, and I like that a lot. We got Bean from PA in the chat. Hey, Bean. What about Static X? Static X was totally a new metal band. R.I.P. Wayne Static. I only ever liked like 2 Static X songs, and the one I liked was just because the video had Terminators in it. Or they looked like Terminators. I don't think they were actually Terminators. I just said, hey, Bean. You big dummy. Skinny. You gotta realize your chat is behind because I'm running through Streamlabs. Prodigy. I never was a big Prodigy fan. 9 Inch Nails. I like them alright. Not one of my favorites. Matt Reese says, I've been listening to a lot of Tom Waits and a lot of the Cramps. That's good stuff right there. When I was in high school, I started listening to a lot of punk rock. I listened to to Bad Religion and the Ramones, and started getting into all the Punkorama CDs, and that led me back to stuff like, I remember Tom Waits signed with Epitaph, and they had a couple of his songs on a Punkorama CD, and that kind of got me into punk rock and got me into Tom Waits a little bit. Nickelback would kind of count as a new metal band, but they kind of evolved into poop rock. Static X and Powerman 5000 was like my soundtrack in Pee Wee and high school football. I must be older than you. Well, I was in high school. Dude, I thought Powerman 5000's album was the greatest thing ever. And I didn't even like stuff like that at the time. It was weird. Just something about it just really was catchy. Static X was in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Bean says, hashtag RIP Neil Peart. Midnight Cherry says the Prodigy albums of 2000 were good too. Had a lot of good albums. See, I didn't really listen to that then. I did like Rammstein. Rammstein, they kind of came in on that new metal thing, but they were not new metal at all. They were just Rammstein. Scarlett Johansson sang a lot of Tom Waits on her album, and it's surprisingly good. Scarlett Johansson has an album. Dave says Ministry without Jurgensen. Ministry, I listened to a little bit, but never was really crazy about. Midnight Cherry says early Static X and the first Power Man album. I think what it was, Cherry, was where I lived, and I forget this is pre-internet. We were kind of a couple years behind everything. Because when I watch a lot of these retro game videos and they talk about the PlayStation, I didn't realize the PlayStation even existed until I was in high school. Because nobody had one here. We were all still playing Super Nintendos. And, we might catch stuff on MTV. But by the time it was playing in rotation on MTV constantly, the stuff was old. Remember when Offspring, Pretty Fly for a White Guy came out? That was my senior year of high school. I remember everybody wearing that CD out. No one says Justin Bieber is a true artist. I think we should kick that guy from the chat. I'm going to put you in timeout. You're in timeout now, no one. You're timed out for 300 seconds. Just because you said that. Matt Reese says ScarJo WTF. Midnight Cherry says Law Bieber. Skinny says, you mean MTV used to play music? Yeah, it was kind of weird. What was weird, when I'd go in high school, we would come in first period class. I had some math class, can't even remember which math it was. We'd come in and the teacher would let us watch MTV like half the period before we did anything. So I remember a bunch of crappy music then. And that's when the friends I had at the time, we would all take our CD players. I remember everybody had their CD player, and we'd trade around CDs, and that's where I got exposed to Bad Religion and NoFX and pretty sure Pretty Fly for a White Guy was my freshman year. What year was that? Let's look it up. Maybe I'm just really confused. Pretty Fly for a White Guy. It says 1998. That would have been my freshman year. Well, pretty much that would have been, when it released, would have been right before my freshman year. So that's why I was playing on MTV, because it was a little old. because I was a freshman in '99. Yeah, my high school graduation, in 2 years, it'll be 20 years, which is insane. Yeah, I like the Offspring, but I liked Smash. I didn't really ever care about anything after Smash. Of course, I didn't hear Smash until about the time that this was coming out because, like I said, I was never exposed to any of that stuff. It's pretty crazy. The only thing I like that was exposed to, like I said, I listened to Tom Petty and Rush and Metallica. Just stuff that your parents listened to on the radio. Well, that my parents did, because my dad's 19 years older than me. So they listen to cool stuff. I still remember the first time that I heard Bad Religion and NoFX. It kind of blew my mind. I didn't know stuff like that even existed. I had listened to MXPX previously. Because my mom and dad would buy me some Christian rock CDs. So I got into MXPX. I liked them quite a bit. And Five Iron Frenzy. And what's cool about Five Iron Frenzy that I didn't know until last year sometime, I have all their albums, and a lot of their album work was done by Doug TenNapel. So here I've been looking at Doug TenNapel's album work for like years and years and years and never even realized. So I always thought that was cool. Yeah, I like to eat cake. So when you have a band called Cake, I'm going to check them out because they have to be good. Somebody clip him hacking a lung. Why would you want to hear me coughing and sounding terrible for? We're going to make a remake of Sweet Leaf by Sabbath. All right now, burner. Skinny says, my dad loved Cake. His Nugget was his favorite song. I liked Weezer a lot. One of my friends got me into Weezer. Yeah, I think you might be right. Not all their albums, because some of their albums don't have artwork that's drawn. Some of them have stupid pictures. I think the last couple of years they stopped using Doug T. They've kind of really... I don't think them and Doug T are on the same level anymore. Because while Doug T says stuff, where Doug T stands on gay marriage and stuff, I think Five Iron Frenzy takes a different stance on that stuff. So they probably don't want Doug T doing art on their albums. Don't really listen to a lot of Five Iron Frenzy anymore. They kind of... If you're going to be something, be it. Claim it, live it. If you're not, don't. Don't be a hypocrite. Do one or the other. Midnight Cherry doesn't like Weezer. You get out of here. Let me point at you. Love Weezer. Oh, let me take that back. I love the Blue Album, Pinkerton, the Green Album, and I like bits and pieces after that. Not really a big fan of any of their newer stuff. Dave says, anybody remember Green Jello, the Three Little Pigs? I remember that. Bean likes Weezer. Skinny says Green Jelly. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys ever heard the band Psycho Stick. They do a bunch of goofy songs. I found them on YouTube. They had a song that had the guy from Green Jelly on it. Yeah, Five Iron Frenzy is from Denver. I've actually seen Five Iron Frenzy a bunch of times. And I have on my Facebook, I have a picture with Reese Roper. I took a couple pictures with him. I'm actually friends with Micah on Facebook. He's a really cool guy. He's probably my favorite 5 Iron Frenzy member. Midnight Cherry says I can name like 500 music acts I like more than Weezer. Pinkerton is amazing, says Reese. Bean says, where's my Clutch fans? I love Clutch. Clutch's last couple albums are probably my favorite. Really good stuff. Tonic Mole says, huge Weezer fan. Blur, Radiohead, Flaming Lips, and that whole alt rock scene in the mid-90s. Yeah, I like a lot of that stuff. I don't listen to it much anymore. I go through phases. I'll get in the mood and I'll listen to certain things. But I used to really like Weezer and Radiohead. And I like some of the Flaming Lips stuff. My friend Kirk Wright got me into a lot of... he got me into Radiohead and Flaming Lips. He listens to that stuff a lot. And he's actually probably the biggest Weezer fan that I know as well. Yeah, Reese, Psycho Stick did the Bruce Campbell song. They've got some really funny stuff out there. Love Blur, Flaming Lips became too much for me, says Midnight Cherry. Love Radiohead too. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way about the Flaming Lips. They got a little bit too out there, a little bit too, what's the word? Hipstery. Now, Muse, I can take them or leave them. It just depends. Some of their songs I think are really great, and some of their songs are so annoying I just can't stand it. Like that Knights of Sidonia or whatever. That song is awesome. I heard that because of Guitar Hero. I had friends who told me to listen to Muse, but I never did. And I used to like Coheed and Cambria back in the day. I don't know if any of you guys ever listened to them. I don't really like anything they did after their first three or four albums, but their first 3 or 4 albums were really good, I thought. We got Lorenzo Sleestack in the chat. What's up, Lorenzo? Hope you're having a fantastical day. Matthew Reese says, I got to meet Reese Roper when he's touring with his Roper project. Talk comics, it was fun. Yeah, that's one thing I never talked to him about. I didn't really talk to him when I met him. I just got a picture. I'm too backwards to talk to people. But he's got like superhero tattoos and stuff, which I thought was cool. Dave says Days of the New. Never really listened to Days of the New. I remember seeing their albums because I worked at Walmart at the time. Everybody in the chat saying hey to each other. Hey, everybody. Midnight Cherry says, I really like the 2000s influx of British acts. Kaiser Chiefs, Block Party, Caspian, and the bands around. Yeah, there was one band, I can't remember what their name was. They sounded so much like David Bowie. It was like they were just copying Bowie. And I loved it. Really, like some of the bands besides the British ones, I just like the 2000s, early 2000s, like alt rock kind of thing going on, like Interpol. I really liked Interpol. I used to have one of their albums, and I listened to it all the time, and somebody stole it. Lorenzo says, good to see everyone. I'm sorry if I missed anyone. Well, if you did, it's alright, Lorenzo. I'm sure they would understand that you would say hey to them because you're a nice dude. Tonic Mole says they might be Giants fans. Nowadays they're a bit too hot topic, but back in the day they were cool. I loved They Might Be Giants because of Tiny Toon Adventures. When they had Particle Man on there, and Constantinople. Those were great, and I love that album. Matthew Reese's Days of the New was pretty great, but at the time my roommate got so on one of the albums he just played it on loop for like a week or two. Yeah, around that time, early 2000s though, remember when everybody was listening to Stained all the time? I got so burnt out on Stained that I just can't even listen to it anymore. Yeah, Midnight Cherry says many people started there. You're right. That was a great introduction for that band, Tiny Toon Adventures. And they also did the Courage the Cowardly Dog theme, didn't they? Or they did something with that. I thought that was pretty cool. I kind of wasn't watching many cartoons at the time. Stained was terrible, says Skinny. Man, like they had one or two songs that was okay, but it seemed like everybody was to it all the time. And I was dating this girl at the time, and I bought her the CD. It's like that's all she listened to, like all the time. Reese says I still like They Might Be Giants even though they're stupid. That's funny. Muttman. We got Muttman and Chase's great conversation. I'm going to go back and listen to all these bands again. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that I'd like to go back and listen to myself. A lot of really, really good musical. I'm currently listening to Die Antwoord. Now, I seen some of their videos. I don't know how anybody listens to that there, Tonic Mole. That crazy South African stuff. And I'm not saying that because it's anything that sounds South African. That's where they're from, right? When I see that, I think that's probably what Sashi listens to. Dave says, what about Gravity Kills? They had a song on Escape from LA soundtrack. I had a video game, Test Drive Off-Road. Used to play it on my computer. And they did the soundtrack. And I remember, like, when getting done playing the game, I'd take the game out, put it in my CD player, and skip the first track because that was the game, and listen to all the music. Hashtag dugcast playlist. Maybe we should get on Twitter and start a hashtag. Everybody that's watching today, put some of your favorite songs by your favorite artist and put hashtag dugcast playlist. And we'll go through and everybody can listen to the songs there. Post your favorite songs and maybe we'll go through and make a YouTube list and then everybody will be able to just click on the YouTube list and listen to the songs. Yeah, they aren't black either, like Lorenzo says. Them not being black's got nothing to do with why I don't like it. Or whatever. Stabbing Westward was on that soundtrack too. Yeah, Stabbing Westward. I remember they had a couple songs I really liked as well. Anybody, did you listen to the Crow soundtrack, Dave? I loved the Crow, so I listened to the soundtrack. That song by The Cure is my favorite Cure song ever. Muttman says, what up, y'all? Great idea on the playlist, Doug. I've got a bunch of IKEA furniture to put together, so I need some good tunes. Yeah, let's do that, everybody. Get on Twitter, hashtag dugcast playlist, and put some of your favorite songs in there. Get to it, Dave. Get to it. Hashtag dugcast playlist. Put some songs on it. Yeah. Tonic Mole says the Crow soundtrack is the best album ever released. It's pretty good. That's got a lot of bands I really liked on it, like The Cure, and it has which is, I don't know why, but it has Ghost Rider by the Rollins Band. So he's yelling about a Marvel Comics character, and it's on the Crow soundtrack. A Night Like This is The Cure's best song. I can't remember that off the top of my head. I like The Cure and listen to The Cure, but they're not one of my go-to bands. I don't like just, it's not one of my regulars. What about Ben's Fold 5? Whatever and Ever Amen. I never listened to a lot of when you do the hashtag dugcast playlist, you can just put DUG if you want. That's how I spell it. DUG Doug. Hashtag dugcast playlist. We'll get that thing going. Listen to some good music. Have some good times. I don't think sometimes people realize. I think they take music for granted. People don't really pay for music anymore. They just kind of assume it should be there. And there's so much great music out there. Midnight Cherry says Ben Folds is good. I got some friends really into Ben Folds, just not really my favorite, not really my thing. Dave says Bean and Skinny already posted. Cool. I'm gonna have to get on there and post as well. Bean says I tweeted Hank Williams Jr. There you go. There you go. Is it all my rowdy friends? All my rowdy friends coming over tonight. No one says Elvis is still the king. Matt Reese says I hate Kiss. I like some Kiss songs. Like there's no way I'm gonna sit and go through an album and their lyrics are terrible. What's funny is Bean says oops meant Waylon Jennings. That's funny. If you watch the Rush documentary, they're talking about how that they on their first U.S. tour, they were playing with Kiss. And Kiss wanted them on the tour because they heard their first album. And see, their first album was when they were trying to be like Led Zeppelin, playing all these "oh baby, 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 baby" type songs. And so they fit right. They thought they fit right in. Well, by this time Neil Peart had joined the band, and they were playing all this long epic stuff and doing these epic things. And when they'd get done playing, they'd go back to the room and chill while everybody else was partying, and Kiss just thought Rush was weird. Lorenzo says, do any of you listen to Hank 3? Cool story. My band, Before the Crows, recorded in one of the studios that Hank 3 recorded some of his stuff in, with the same engineer. So I thought that was pretty cool. We got Hank Williams' Family Tradition. That's an alright song. I could listen to Hank Jr. if I had to. No, it's alright, no one. I understand that. And you're allowed to have your opinion. Just don't ever say anything about Justin Bieber being good again, and you're fine. No one says, never was a big Rush fan. Great musicians, but that voice was like nails on a board. He says, go ahead and put me back in timeout. I understand that. It's not for everybody. I was talking about earlier about liking Coheed and Cambria. They were kind of the same way. You know, either you like it or you don't. But I'll tell you this. I would rather listen to Geddy Lee's high-pitched voice any day than listen to half of Led Zeppelin's catalog. Led Zeppelin, I'm so burnt out on and so tired of hearing his yelling and nonsense. It gets on my nerves. I'm just glad Rush didn't go, oh baby, 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 baby. It gets on my nerves. Skinny says, I feel like that about Guns N' Roses. I like Guns N' Roses as long as it's the only album by them that matters. I hate Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 and everything. Just they just have one album. Pretty much almost everything got played to death off that album. That voice Axl Rose used like screeching. Yeah, he had a really annoying voice. Stairway to Heaven was the first open mic meme. Oh man. So we spent a huge portion of this talking about awesome music and some bad music, but music's very important. It's important. I mean, even if you don't even think about it, you get in a car and just turn the radio on. There's music. I can't drive or go anywhere without music. Matt Reese says, I want to be mad about your Led Zeppelin take, but it is so dang funny. Well, it's true. Lorenzo says, one time Jimmy Page went to a guitar solo in a concert recording that was so long I forgot what the song was about. Matthew Reese, I used to like Zeppelin, but like them and AC/DC, you turn on the classic rock station and that they want to play the same stuff all the time, and it just burnt me out so much. It just Bonham was good, but I still think my two favorite drummers, Keith Moon and Neil Peart. I think the Who was better than Led Zeppelin. So if you guys want to fight me, you're welcome to. Midnight Cherry says Zeppelin are top 10 for me all time. Skinny says I prefer unplayed. I do too. I prefer more of the deep cuts there. If you're going to listen to Zeppelin, I prefer the stuff you don't hear a lot. But I'm so burnt out on everything else. It's just a poop. Sam says, I listen to a ton of music, just not bands for the most part. Lots of game and movies sometimes. So that's cool. Nope, Reese, I'm right. The Who's the greatest rock band of all time. Poop on the Rolling Stones. Poop on Led Zeppelin. Poop on everybody else who doesn't think that. Roger Daltrey's a better singer. Pete Townsend might not be the greatest guitar player of all time. John Entwistle's a great bassist. Keith Moon was a train wreck. Just an absolute and utter train wreck. Somehow the band still held together. The Who, greatest band ever. Go get yourself a copy of The Kids Are Alright on DVD or stream it. It's a documentary in the 70s about The Who. It's great. So yeah, that's what stinks. Midnight Cherry says, I'm burnt out on the Who from from Chicago classic rock radio. See, they don't hardly ever play the Who here. All you hear here in the South is AC/DC and Zeppelin. You hear Skinnerd a lot, but you hear more Zeppelin than you hear Skinnerd. You think they'd be playing Freebird every day. You think they'd play it when you get up in the morning and when you go to bed at night. But they play Zeppelin more than they do that, and it just kills me. Tonic Mole hit the nail right on the head. A lot of those 70s, 80s rock bands are way overplayed. What about the Guess Who? Guess Who's alright. American Woman, stay away from me. Midnight Cherry says the Who is top 20 for me all time. Well, that's cool. Yes was a great band. I mean, you've got several different eras of Yes there that are really great. Lorenzo says they're all British. Those are all British bands as far as American bands. MC5 was excellent. That's right. Kick out the jams, Lorenzo. Reese says, I thought Freebird was a Tennessee state anthem. It'd have to be country music if it was Tennessee. But I believe down in Alabama, it probably is the state anthem. Midnight Cherry says, growing up they did 2 hours, one in the morning and one at night, just Zeppelin, and during the day it was anything else. Bean says, I like humble pie. Yes is good. Doug just saying, Guess Who's the entire greatest hits. That's true. I mean, really, do you know any other songs by the Guess Who? I don't. Bean says MC5 is awesome. T-Rex. T-Rex was a great band. Bring it on, get it on. Brr, brr. That's my favorite T-Rex song. Nate says No Quarter off of Houses of the Holy is pretty killer. Yeah, they got some killers. I mean, Zeppelin had some killer stuff. I just don't want to hear it. The Needle Movers Skinny says they have other songs. Prove it. Now, this right here I'm totally cool with. Midnight Cherry says my all-time number one is ZZ Top. I can't argue anything. ZZ Top is one of the greatest bands of all time. I don't care what anybody says. ZZ Top. So many good songs. They have a collection, I think it's called, I can't even remember what it's called, but they got this epic 3-disc set that I used to have. I had it and I ripped it to my computer and listened. I'd listen to that so much it made me sick. But I can still put that in and listen to it. Tonic Mole says my top 2 bands are The Doors and Nirvana. I like Nirvana quite a bit, and I like some of the Doors songs, but the Doors I'm going to listen to in spurts. Skinny says I love Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf was a great band. Everybody always thinks of Born to Be Wild, but I like the other song, Magic Carpet Ride. That's the one I like. And I like Magic Carpet Ride because it's in a Star Trek movie. 10 bonus points to anybody who knows what Star Trek movie that Magic Carpet Ride's in. Midnight Cherry says, I love the Doors, don't like Nirvana. I like Nirvana. I like the Foo Fighters. I like the Foo Fighters a lot. Midnight Cherry says, I burned out on Doors and Pink Floyd before I was out of coffee. Pink Floyd's another one I'm just tired of hearing. Pink Floyd was great. Dave gets the bonus points. I knew Dave. He's my Star Trek person. First Contact has Magic Carpet Ride in it. Bean says, I will forever be a Queen fan. I'll mourn Freddie till this day. That dude, there will never be another Freddie Mercury. That dude was insane. You put him together with those other guys, it was magic. Absolute magic. No one says they got kicked out of their frat for lyrics in Magic Carpet Ride. My favorite Steppenwolf song. I know I said that like 50 times, but it is. Alright, Midnight Cherry's favorite number one band is ZZ Top. What is your favorite ZZ Top song? Anybody feel free to put that in the chat. Favorite ZZ Top song. I guarantee it we'll probably have at least one Two Snake Boogie. Sam says the Foo Fighters have some good ones for sure. That is true. There's a really good documentary about the Foo Fighters as well. Go check that out. I absolutely loved it. I love Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl is amazing. He's such a cool dude. He's somebody I would really like to meet. He says the F word too much in just normal conversations, but I'd still like to meet him. Seems like a cool dude. Still waiting for ZZ Top songs. You mean Sharp Dressed Man there, Reese. I know what you meant. I got you. Girl go crazy about a sharp dressed man. Rough Boy. Do you know Danzig did a cover of Rough Boy on his cover album? Bet you didn't know that. Dave is a legendary drummer. He is a legendary drummer, and it's so cool that he plays guitar and writes songs as well as he does, as well as be one of the greatest drummers of all time. Bean says LaGrange or Two Snake Boogie. I got a girl who lives on the hill. She won't do it, but her sister will. She like the boogie. Do a Two Snake Boogie. A bug little baby. Boogie woogie all night long. My burnout hippie uncle loves ZZ Top, says Tonic Mole. ZZ Top's good. Jimi Hendrix said back in 1969 that Billy Gibbons was his favorite guitar player. And Billy Gibbons actually was in a band pre-ZZ Top that played, I believe they played Woodstock. And so Jimi Hendrix did see him play, and Jimi Hendrix probably really said that. Dave says legs. Midnight Cherry says Heaven, Hell, or Houston. Jesus just left Chicago. TV dinners. I'm bad. I'm nationwide. Dude, TV dinners has one of the best videos ever. It's so 80s and weird. So good. Cheap sunglasses. Matthew Reese says, speaking of documentaries, have you seen This Might Get Loud? I sure have. That's a really good documentary. Got Jack White and Jimmy Page and the guy from YouTube for some reason. The Edge. That's a really good documentary. I like to watch documentaries. There's another Dave Grohl documentary. I think it's Sound City, where they go and they take that old crappy recording studio and they pull the board out of it and record their album. It's a really good documentary. Yeah, Midnight Cherry says TV Dinner's video is amazing. It is. If you guys haven't seen it, you need to go see it. Lorenzo says ZZ Top's Burger Man video is entertaining. It's similar to the creature from the Black Lagoon. They had some great videos back in the day. They're just a fantastic band. They were a lot of fun. Bean says, I seen Outkast at Rolling Rock Fair. They killed it in front of a crowd of metal alternative rock fans. Yeah, I saw Danzig once. I don't know why I just thought I'd say that. And I saw this band called Possessed, and their singer was in a wheelchair and he didn't have any legs. And he's in a wheelchair going like this, talking about the devil. It was kind of disturbing. I didn't like them. I don't know why I brought that up. Well, guys, I've been streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. I think it's about time for me to take Axel out for a walk and fix some lunch and take a nap. I kind of got a headache and been kind of bummed out. And I need to read this book by Matt Krotz that I can't pronounce the name of. Matt Krotz. Good guy. We'll have to do some more music streams. Remember, post some of your favorite music on the Twitters. Hashtag dugcast playlist. Bean says the drummer from Def Leppard only got one arm. He do. And I like Def Leppard. Def Leppard is good. Skinny says play us one of your tunes for an outro. Oh man, I don't know if I can do that. Dave says take a cat nap with your dog. Oh, he's napping right now. I went and laid down to take a nap earlier because the electricity went out, and he come in there and laid in the bed for forever. Tonic Mole says my favorite song ever is the Dugcast theme song. It's just because it goes, hey everybody! Yeah. Send us out with the smooth melodies of Justin Bieber. You're really pushing the Justin Biebers. You're trying to push my buttons. Better watch out. Crazy people. Like I said, I don't know if I can post any of my tunes in here at the end. It's easier said than done. Most of the tunes I've recorded lately too are just terrible songs about me being angry and mess. I don't think I have anything good on this computer. All my other stuff's on my other computer. I have a space enough. It's true. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I appreciate everybody stopping by. You know, we've had a good turnout today. Had a really good chat. I like talking about music, and I like hanging out with y'all. Y'all's good people. Dave says shoot 'em up. Shoot 'em up's on my other computer. It ain't on here, so I can't play it. I changed computers a while back, got a new one, so you can go check it out on YouTube. You can search for "Shoot 'Em Up" by Doug Garrett and listen to that song. I'll play it tomorrow. I'll start playing some more music in here. But I hope y'all have a great day, and I appreciate you stopping by. Y'all's great people. And Midnight Cherry's trying to get me to keep talking about music. He posted a bunch of music. I'm ignoring you, Cherry. I love you, but I'm ignoring you. So y'all have a good day. Bye.